Hey there, YouTube fans. Mike Palumbo, and I want to bring a bit of content about something that's been in the news lately, specifically Bill Cosby. He was let out of jail. He won his appeal from his criminal conviction of some sort of sexual assault. I don't exactly know what the charges were, but he was doing a 10-year bid. And they overturned the conviction, and they overturned the conviction having nothing at all to do with whether or not he did it. As a matter of fact, it's pretty clear he did do it. So why'd they let him out of jail? Well, let me explain it to you. What happened was, prior to him being convicted, he was tried by the prosecutor's office, one of the counties in Pennsylvania. I don't exactly know the specific county. And it was a hung jury. And the prosecutor's office felt that they could really not get a conviction due to the length of time it was between when the victim came forward and when they tried him, and the quality and quantity of the evidence. So they decided to not retry him. But to help the victim in getting civil redress, some sort of justice through the justice system, the civil justice system, because the victim was suing Bill Cosby civilly, where the burden of proofs are a lot lower. So where you can't prove a case in criminal court, you can prove it in civil court to get money damages. So to help out the victim, they promised Bill Cosby that they would never prosecute him again. So basically they gave him immunity. And they did that so that in the civil case, unlike in a criminal case, you could be compelled to testify and give testimony and evidence against your own personal interest. And if he was still under threat of being prosecuted, he would not have had to testify in a civil case. He could assert his Fifth Amendment rights. But he was given immunity. Now, immunity is a common thing that prosecutors give to people that they know committed crimes. Usually it's done in the context of a case that they are prosecuting. So there's a bunch of co-defendants, and they'll take the lower level co-defendants and they'll flip them, basically turn them into rats. They'll give them immunity. So we're not going to prosecute you, but you have to testify for the state. And so when they do that, they get immunity from being personally prosecuted for what they're confessing to their crimes. That's usually when immunity, it's usually linear within the criminal justice system. But this prosecutor did was he gave immunity so that to free up Bill Cosby to testify in the civil suit against him. And apparently he gave himself up. I mean, he didn't hold anything back. He pretty much admitted what he did. So, he lost some money damages. I mean, that case was settled, so the victim did get compensation. So then what happens is there's a new prosecutor. The district attorney who gave him the particularized, prosecutor who gave him immunity lost an election. No matter if the new district attorney ran on, I'm going to prosecute Bill Cosby. New prosecutor runs, and his stance is, I didn't make that promise with you. My predecessor did, so it's no good. And not only that, he also actually took the testimony, the deposition and trial testimony that Bill Cosby gave, and used it in the criminal trial, which is the reason why he was convicted, because of the testimony that he gave, because he thought he had immunity. So the question became, when you have an immunity deal, do you have an immunity deal with that particular prosecutor, or does that prosecutor speak for the state when he gives you immunity, and after he leaves office, the state is still bound by that, basically a contract? There was a quid pro quo. I'll give you immunity, but you have to testify in that case. You got to tell the truth in that case. So there was what we call consideration for it. And the Supreme Court of Pennsylvania, which is where the trial took place, said no, when a prosecutor gives immunity, he's speaking for the state. He's not speaking for his own, personal, he's not speaking for his person for the time frame he's in office. He's speaking for the state. He's binding the state. So another prosecutor can't come in and prosecute him, and especially can't use the evidence that he would never have given but for the immunity. A couple of the judges of the Supreme Court felt that he could be prosecuted again, but they couldn't use the trial and deposition testimony he gave in the civil suit. But the majority opinion said not only he has immunity, and it's immunity with prejudice, that he can never be tried again. So that case in Pennsylvania is over. He can never be tried again for that. But that's why he got out of jail. It's not that they didn't believe the victim. It's not that there was error by the prosecutor or the defense attorney. There actually was error by the prosecutor. He had really no right to bring the case. But it had to do with whether or not immunity accrued to the particular prosecutor who gave the immunity, or when a district attorney gives immunity, does he speak for the entire state even after he leaves office? Is that immunity deal still binding on the state? And the Supreme Court of Pennsylvania said it is, and I don't really like the fact that Bill Cosby got out of jail, but honestly, I think it's the right decision. It doesn't make any sense. Any other way, this makes no sense. It's not a person prosecuting someone. The office of the district attorney is prosecuting someone through elected and appointed officials. So, and the office of the district attorney has a client. The client is the people of the state, in this case, the state of Pennsylvania. So he's a representative of the state. He's not representing his own personal interests. And when that particular prosecutor leaves office, another one can't come in and say, "Hey, I didn't make that agreement. The other prosecutor did, so it's not binding on me." It's not a private entity. It's not how it works. Anyhow, that's why Bill Cosby got out of jail. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'm going to continue to bring you guys great content. See you at the next one.